Welcome back behind the velvet rope as I lose my voice and we haven't even started. Let's just get right into it because we are joined by the one, the only Melissa's old nose.
Hey everyone. Hi David.
I mean, I could say Gabriella also. You do have a name.
I know, isn't it funny how we're known by our ads?
Listen, I have said on this show, people could go back and listen to, you could roll the tape. I have said for years before I even spoke to you that Melissa's Old Nose is one of the best names that has ever been invented out of all of these Twitter handles. I'm not just saying that because you're here. I've said it
Oh
before.
my gosh. I won't be that and much longer. I will be changing that pretty soon. But
Change
no,
it,
yeah,
baby.
it was all meant for shade.
I think it's great. Well, listen, I mean, that's why, I have said for so long on this podcast, there are a lot of people that, unless it happens on the TV, there is a big majority of people that don't really follow a lot of the stuff that goes on social media or off the TV for a lot of the franchises. But this really, the RHO and J bloggers has really gotten so much that I cannot ignore it anymore. And then, like, when it was suggested that you and I talk and that you and I connected, I'm like, it's time to do this, because a lot of my listeners either watch it on the TV or they hear it here and they don't really know about a lot of this other stuff that's going on. So I'm like, I think it's time that you and I actually speak directly.
Yeah, and the season just started and there's a lot going on behind the scenes and on social media, so why not, right?
Why not? Like, so I want to hear like everything you have to say, like, but and the other thing too is like, I always say, like, people, I mean, I really don't have an agenda. I have issues with Teresa. I have issues with Melissa. I've met both of them several times. I'm really team no one, but I want to know because I feel like for all that you've talked, like, no one's really asked you, like, how did this all start? Like, I mean, and I don't mean what's going on now. Like, you started Melissa's Old Nose, obviously, like, it was like a pro Teresa account, right? Like, back when you started it.
Yeah, so somebody put the thing out there that I had posted a video of Melissa and I said superstar. That was I really, that was like such shade. That was sarcasm. I was actually insulting Melissa because I thought the audio of her live recording was terrible. And someone put the rumor out there that I was first a Melissa Gorga account, Stan account. And I mean, that doesn't make sense because my name's Melissa's Old Nose. So that's an
Yeah.
insult to the girl, number one. And number two, no, I threw that out there. I mean, they've tried to flip the narrative against me so many different ways. Like the fact that they've said I started off as a Melissa Gorga fan, that's just such a lie because I have done nothing but shade that girl and her entire family. It's so horrible and in the most disgusting of ways. But no, I always was a tree hugger. I from the get-go. I wasn't really much into Jennifer and she grew on me. But I began on Twitter, Melissa's Old Nose, in June of 2022 as a tree hugger. And right off the bat, I was snarky. I was throwing shade. I was pointing out the Gorga feud. And, as all tree huggers do, I was just doing my own thing. And then in the fall of 2022, that's when I started DMing with Jennifer from like early fall, I guess, to October. But it wasn't until October that I got that first DM from her where she was like, "Hey, I have some BravoCon tea / shade." And from there it began. The tweeting for them began at that moment when she slipped into the DM in that way.
So that's how it's so like right. So you were pro Teresa, you were a tree hugger, hence the name Melissa's Old Nose. You were posting all sorts of positive stuff about Teresa, maybe some anti-Melissa stuff. And then so Jennifer was really the point of entry. She really kind of slipped into your DMs and said,
Yeah. Yeah.
hey.
Cause I mean, I was sending her stuff like, I was making like fan art and good posts for them and stuff, calling them the dream team, praising them. And then it in early fall, we were starting to chat, but it wasn't until October.
Of 2023. Why did you go silent for a minute?
Did it cut you out?
Yeah, it cut out for a
Mm.
minute.
Okay. Do you want me to record that part again?
Yeah, so it was October 2023.
Okay, no, October 2022.
2022 that she slipped into your DMs and said, I have
Yeah.
BravoCon tea.
Yeah, because prior to that, like in early fall of 2022, I was just sending her stuff that I was making for her and Teresa, pro them tweets. And then it was October of 2022 that boom, hey, I have some shade for you, some tea. And then it started from there.
And so she gave it to you and then you put it out. And then what? Like Jennifer then kept saying, like, hey, I have something else for you. I have
It
something
was
else for
just
you.
like, yeah, from there on, it was like the rest is history. It was just like, hey, I got the scoop, I got tea. In other words, hey, let me give you this so you can stick it out there for me since I can't tweet against my castmates. And then it was suggested that I create a Twitter, which sorry, Instagram, which I did. I made a Instagram, and then it was love, love, love Gabriella. And I headed over there, and within 1 week, I think it was probably even like 3 days, Teresa Judice was in my DM. And actually, when she came into my DM, she was like, "Oh, hi, honey. Jennifer sent me this video. Thank you for your support." And then from that moment on, I got her phone number. And then mine and Teresa's relationship actually began in regards to Vanessa Reiser. What we began discussing when we were on the telephone from the get, Teresa and I, was Vanessa Reiser. She began to tell me how Vanessa was spreading all these rumors about Louie, how it really bothered her. I remember telling her, I noticed under several people, like several people had sent me stuff in regards to Vanessa Reiser, but I mean, I had told her we were already, me and my friends, discussing Vanessa Reiser because it was already out there that this was his ex and she was saying stuff about him. But anyway, in November of 2022, I remember I made Teresa aware that there was a post where Jennifer Aiden and Teresa and Louie went to some shelter for Thanksgiving to, do some charity work. And Vanessa was under Jennifer's post commenting. And I remember I pointed that out. And from the get, like Teresa just had to add Jim on the phone call. And then we were discussing things. So from that moment on, they were like, pretty much, you got to stalk the stalker. We got to keep an eye on this girl. We got to know what she's doing on social media because she's so-called hurting this family. And I remember on January 27th of 2023, Teresa texted me this huge, huge essay of a letter that Louie submitted to the board that oversees Vanessa's therapist license, because at that point they were trying to come for her license and take it from her. And it was like shortly after that Teresa told me that they hired, I remember she's like, "Do you know who Bo Dietl is?" This is early 2023. She's like, "Do you know who he is?" And I was like, "No," because I didn't know who the guy was. And she's like, "Oh, well, he's just like this really good investigator. Louie hired him. And we're having girls act like they're clients so that we can spy on Vanessa because we want to see if she's going to say anything about Louie." And I remember thinking, oh my God, like this girl must be trouble if you guys are going to this extent. And she's like, "No, Gabriella, you don't understand. She's trouble. Like, we got to get stuff on her." So I knew about Bo Dietl in the early part of 2023 because Teresa was discussing him, how they were putting people in her office.
I
And
mean, wow.
I don't know at the time if they had stuck them in her in her practice or not, or if they were planning on it. But this was, I mean, the